Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you today with another review. Today we're taking a look at quite possibly the last Dinobot we're going to be getting for a while until the repaints start hitting shelves. Dinobot Slog, a Voyager class figure that I just picked up yesterday. And I'm actually quite excited to take a look at this guy, so let's go ahead and get the review proper started by getting this guy transformed into his beast mode through the magic of jump cuts. And here we have Slog in his beast mode, and as you can see, he is quite a big figure. You can see my hand next to him while I have tiny baby hands. You can also see next to a transformed Voyager, he is actually taller. And that's just absolutely crazy. He's quite a sizable figure. Though, my biggest complaint with this guy, well, one of my biggest complaints with this guy, because there will be a few, is that he's a Brachiosaurus. He should be much bigger than this. Like, much bigger. 3 times as big, at least. And he's not. He's just a Voyager class. An Ultra class version of this guy, I would eat that thing up. The problem is, he was not in the movie, so most people wouldn't. Before we go into Slog's transformation, let's zoom in on him a bit and get a look at some of the fantastic detail on this guy that is unfortunately mostly made of this dull gray plastic that is everywhere, though it does have some nice black to help make it pop a little bit. This really vibrant red, which I feel really clashes with the gray, and that's it. Those are the only colors on this guy, aside from his standard Dinobot blue eyes, which I did zoom in on once, but you can see him again right there. The other, another issue with this guy's construction is that, sliding back a little bit so you can actually see all of him, is that a lot of this is rubbery plastic. It's like, it's the toy's favorite thing, and I don't quite understand it. I get it on the spikes, but why is this made of rubbery plastic? I don't get it, because what it is, I actually have it hooked behind what will be his shoulder pads, because otherwise it just kind of flails outward and hangs there, and it's supposed to be back here against the chest, like so, but it barely fits there. And I could fix that. I could heat it up and then like put a rubber band around there to hold it into place and leave it for long enough, and it would most likely stay just fine. But that's beside the point. The way this was put in package, it was all pressed up against the back of the box, and now it's stuck, flailed out like that, and I can't stand it. But he doesn't look bad, and Brachiosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs, so I'm pretty excited about this guy, personally. I don't remember if I mentioned it yet or not, but I didn't know this guy was coming out yet. And I was very excited to see him in the store. Also kind of upset because they only had one left at my local Target, and I felt like I needed to get it. Since it's, as of now, the last Dinobot that's coming out, I don't think that's going to end up being true. I think we're going to get a couple repaints relatively soon. But as of right now, it's the last Dinobot that's coming out, and I didn't want to miss the chance to get it, so I picked it up even though I don't really have a lot of money right now. But that's a whole other thing. He looks cool. It's just, I don't like the red, which is a shame, because he's got these really cool shoulder cannons and these really cool missile launchers that if they weren't that bright red, I think they'd be great. Make them like a gold or something. That would look really cool, because he's got some metallic-y silver and stuff in here. And I just don't get why this is... The other pieces, like the side pieces, and there's a piece on the top of the tail that you'll see in a minute. Fine, make them soft rubbery plastic if you want. But this, why is this? Why does this need... It ends up on his back in robot mode. It doesn't get in the way or anything. I don't understand why it's rubbery plastic. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I digress before I go off on too much of a tangent. Transformation of this guy is fairly simple. First, we are going to remove his weapons, like so. There's a couple things we can do with these things down the line, which I will get to when the time comes. But first we're going to take a look at the detail on them, and they are these kind of long cannon things. but they also have little handles on them so that he can use them as lances, because he does have the knight motif going for him, like all of the movie Dinobots. Next, what we're going to do, you don't really need to do this, it just kind of depends on how you like displaying them in robot mode. We're going to take those off just so they get out of the way. You can see, I tried to tuck his chest back in. Grr. You can see he doesn't look bad without his weapons either. In fact, I actually kind of prefer him like that in this mode. Doesn't look quite as weird in robot mode, but in beast mode he just looks... It's too much almost. But moving on, we are going to take this section and we're just going to kind of bring it up. It doesn't move forward any more than that. We're just going to get it out of the way of this. Then we're going to come up here, and these two red panels, which are made of soft rubbery plastic, or even if they aren't, I'm pretty sure they are, but if they're not, these are, and so half the hinges are, so it's annoying. These detach, and you can see how they peg together there. Then we're going to fold them up like so, and just kind of bring them down, kind of out of the way like that, and that frees up this whole area. Then we're going to come here and we're just going to kind of raise that up out of the way, split his tail, and we're going to bring this leg up, and things will get in the way kind of. Bring it up, rotate it around like so, just kind of reverse its orientation. And then bring the tail about there to get it out of the way for now. Next we're going to straighten out his leg, and we're going to rotate it at what will eventually be the thigh, because I don't think these really qualify as legs yet. Next we're going to open up these panels. Again, make sure there's clearance here. We're going to raise, if I can get my thumb in there, because it's kind of tough. We're going to raise these red bits up, and then lower his feet first. Lower this down, and then bring this around with the red bit on the outside, like so. And come around, and you will see there is a tab there that will slot into the leg. If I can get it, there we go. Slot into the leg using the same tab slots as the back section did. And I might have... Was I not supposed to turn these around? I thought I was supposed to turn those around. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. Anyway, or maybe I did again while I was showing you that and I just didn't realize. Either way, let's look at it from a different angle this time. Bring this red piece up. Bring his foot down. Bring this back so that this can come up with the red piece on the outside, and it'll just tab in like that. And then bring this around and slot it in. And as we straighten them out again, those are his legs. Done, like pretty much completely done. We are eventually going to bring these around and fold them into place, but not yet. I don't want to get to that yet. Moving the camera up, we are going to transform the top section of him now. This is a little interesting. We're going to make sure this section here is no longer tabbed together, which it's never going to stay tabbed together anyway. Then we're going to bring this panel up as far as it'll go, like so, on a hinge here. Bring it up just a tad more. Then we're going to split these just a little. And this is interesting. We're going to bring... Here, let me show you from the other side. We're going to bring this up and these panels in kind of at the same time. And that gives us clearance to rotate all this back. Now we'll rotate his dino head, bring his dino head up, and then just bring this panel back as far as it'll go. You can see there, it was in box kind of like that. It's supposed to be down like this. Epic fail on the part of whoever packaged these things. And it seems to be a pretty common complaint that a lot of people are having with the figure. The packaging seems to be going that way in general. Alright, bringing the camera back down. There's this hinge here. We are going to accordion it down and bring his torso into place like so. And then we're going to take these tail bits, just cross them over each other like a belt. Then we're going to come up here and we're going to rotate his arms and flip out his hands. And there's a couple things you can do here. For Dino mode, these panels will be up so that the legs can wrap around this panel like so, fold it in. You could also bring these black bits down. I'm not sure why that does that. I can't figure out a reason why it would anyway. And you'll notice that these leg panels come untabbed a lot. You need to be careful of that because it is a hard tab on soft rubbery plastic, and so it's not the strongest connection ever. And there you have the base form of this is also soft rubbery plastic. This is the piece I was telling you we'd get to, and it doesn't stay in place because of it. It tries to bend and fit where it fits better than there, if that makes any sense. It just, if it were a rigid piece, it would stay in place better than it does. Let's put it that way. There we have the base version of Slog in robot mode, and he looks very cool, very dynamic, very big. He looks like a bruiser, a berserker, a big two-handed sword wielder, knight type. Very dangerous looking. Zooming in on the head, you can see fantastic head sculpt with what looks like a very stylized knight's helm, but it's still recognizable as such. The red carries over into his chest and shoulders, and into his belt, and into his knees, but there's far less red visible, at least from the front, in his robot mode than there was in the beast mode, because the red on his back was so visible, which now is sitting in the back of his legs, where you can't really see it very well. He doesn't have the whole split head motif going on, where he has them in his legs, feet, or shoulders, and that bums me out a little bit, because it kind of detracts from the whole dynamic that these Dinobots had going for them. But I think it still looks alright. And I mentioned that we didn't have to take these out of his would-be shoulder pieces, but it's almost better that you do, because they'll be kind of in this orientation for beast mode, and I think they look better like so in robot mode, which would necessitate removing them and swapping sides. So if you are going to put these on him, I do recommend removing them. And then I mentioned he can hold his weapon, but we're not going to get to that yet. We're going to take a look at his arms, which only go out about that far. Do a full 360, which is nice, but they have the gorilla arms thing going on again. And because of the nature of his transformation, his wrists literally cannot be made to rotate. So, once again, in the second in a row now, out of the Dinobots I've reviewed, we have a Dinobot that can't bend his arms right. And I don't understand why not. They could have, I don't know, had another rotation joint in here somewhere that brought everything into the right alignment around the elbow bend or something, if that makes any sense. I just don't, in this day and age, let me put it this way, he has a waist joint. He doesn't need the waist joint. He's very bulky. He's not going to be in a whole lot of dynamic poses and look right. So he doesn't need the waist joint. Remove the waist joint, put in some arm joints if that's the problem, if they just didn't want to mold more separate pieces. And it just bugs me a lot. Legs are fine, but the belt pieces get in the way. And knees are actually very nice, considering the size of his legs. This is actually pretty cool. He gets these little guns that were facing backwards in beast mode. He gets them pointing forward on his knees now, and I think that's cool to think he could like knee you in the face, and then as you're recoiling back from the blow, he could shoot you. Or he could just plain shoot you with his knees. I think that's very, very cool. But moving on, he can hold his lances, like I said, but the way I prefer it, I actually take these same assemblies that attached it to his back in beast mode, rather, and you plug it in here. Now he has shoulder cannons in robot mode as well, and if I can get it in there, I can show you both of them, and it looks very nifty, and it kind of frees up his arms to, just kind of be static, since they are pretty much useless anyway. And so it looks like not only is he big and bulky and he can take any hit you throw at him, but he can kill you from a distance without even having to get close to you. And I think that's just very, very cool. And Overall, it's why I recommend this figure. I just really like the look of him, though, once again, I do wish the colors were a bit better. Though, to be fair, he is the closest in color scheme to the original Dinobots, so I can't really fault him too much on the colors, either. All in all, a good Voyager class figure. Voyager class figures that retail at Target are about $19 now, which I believe they actually come down a bit from what they were for a while. So I don't really see a reason for a collector, especially not a Dinobot fan who's also a collector, not to at least give this guy a look, and I definitely recommend that you at least consider picking him up, because he's pretty nifty. But really, that's going to be all for this review, my first one after my brief hiatus. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined, and in the description down below you will find links to a bunch of the stuff I'm working on right now. Please check those things out, and you know, support me however you feel like you can. I'd really appreciate it. It would really help me out. But either way, this has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.